That's not bad for a work day.
1015 FM, KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. If I sound a little raspy today, sorry, kids. Got a little bit of a head cold, but we're going to work through it. Have a great time today as we bring you the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Should be a blast. We have a very special show for you today. Huge guest coming in the second hour, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to get the boys in here first. So first, let's say hi to From Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Stu Myrick is on the air. What's up, Stu?
Stay hydrated there, Mark. Stay hydrated.
I am doing all sorts of things.
Good.
I hope our special guest doesn't hold it against me today, but we'll see how that goes. But thanks to having Stu on the show. And this guy, we missed him so much.
Did you?
Did, of course.
I missed you, Phil.
I missed you too, Stu.
Very happy to have Phil Stamper on board. Boy, you guys had a big night down in Texas, didn't you?
We did. We had a great night down in Texas. Big congratulations to Brick Savage for winning the inaugural Revolver Texas Championship. So excited for him and what's going to come in the future for him. But I'm going to say, Mark, I will say in past times when you've been like, I'm not feeling that well. I have a little bit of a cold. You sound a little bit rough there, buddy.
I was not in good shape yesterday. I'm trying to down medicine and cough drops. I was curled up like a ball yesterday, so not good, but I'll be okay. I'll get through the show, Maybe you have to take an extra commercial break or, duck away for a minute, but hanging in there. But very happy to have both of you guys along for the ride today. But boy, we have a guest today, guys, don't we? Holy cow. One of the icons of pro wrestling is going to be joining us today. Eric Bischoff. Yeah, that Eric Bischoff from WCW fame and so much more. He'll be on in the second hour joining us. So looking forward to having Eric Bischoff joining us on the show. So brace yourselves for that in hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show. All right, guys. So let's just dive into that whole little week in Riyadh, shall we? You guys are giggling already. It's like you probably know where I'm starting, though.
Let's go.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of places where you could start, but you choose. You're the host.
Well, let's start when they got off the plane, shall we? This is an interesting beginning to the week for CM Punk, as a kid ran up to him when they were arriving, and Punk and the security guard pushed the little kid away. And to a point, I get it. You want security and safety, and even if it was just a little kid, still, you got to be a little nervous about that. But it sure didn't get the week off to a good start for Phil, did it, guys?
No, it didn't. The visual, when the video was posted on social media, the visual was not good, not by any stretch. I mean, yeah, eventually CM Punk did apologize and everything, but with everything that led up to Night of Champions, including all the real world politics stuff, that was not a good way to start the week. It was kind of one of those. It almost kind of added another reason why maybe they should have seriously considered either moving it or postponing.
And then we go to the kickoff show and Punk gets booed out of the building to start. I mean, it was bad. And then he decided to apologize to Saudi Arabia for his comments a few years ago that were directed at the Miz. But of course, the Saudis didn't like it very much. I don't blame them. And, it is real. This whole thing really just put Punk in a bad spot, Phil. I mean, from start to finish, with them taking a very heavy political stance against Saudi Arabia, which is okay. I understand that. But to go over there and then, he basically bent the knee. That's kind of tough for diehard Punk fans to see, don't you think?
I mean, I feel like now we expected it to a degree. I don't think we expected what he did. I thought they wouldn't have even touched it. I thought they were, we're just going to blind eye it and just keep moving forward. Let him be booed. Like he is a bad guy. Like, let him be booed. I don't think he wants to be a bad guy. I don't think he perceives. I don't know. I'm a little confused in the marketing of CM Punk right now, but I'm really shocked. So in my brain, I'm like, somebody told him you need to from somewhere. My brain is like, did it come from the Saudi family? Did it come from or the royal family? Did it come from somebody hired in WWE? Did it just come from him? Maybe it was a stance by himself, like a feeling of, you know what, I do need to say this. And so it was him being genuine to himself in a way he needed to address it. But it did feel very much like you said, bending the knee.
Stu, what'd you think of that whole thing?
I'm with Phil. Look, I live in Austin, Texas. We are the home of the University of Texas. And while we have a fantastic football team, there have been instances when some of those players get out of line, off the field, driving around, they're heading down the drag over by UT, and they get pulled over, possibly DWI or something. It would shock me if it wasn't somebody higher up in WWE saying, okay, Phil, you need to apologize. You need to do this. CM Punk made his feelings clear back when he was in AEW. Now, that could have been nothing more than just, hey, I'm going to lambast the competition, whatever. Giving his political leanings and given his past resistance, this was the first trip for CM Punk to head to Saudi Arabia. I've got a feeling, yes, it was a bitter pill to swallow, but it was one of those things, let's get it over with, get the match over with, get out. The funny thing was, he didn't really get booed during the match.
No.
He got, yeah. And even the comment, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, the commentators, they mentioned about Punk being an antagonist, which, come on, that's been his shtick pretty much his entire career. So, I think it was a combination of WWE saying, yeah, make it right. And Punk saying, look, I'm just going to get through and head home.
See, I almost wonder to a point, and I wouldn't be shocked about what you guys said, but I kind of feel like that the reaction that he got when he went out on that stage and got booed to all hell, that was the reality slap in the face. Like, wow, you know what? I really did insult their country. And, I got to do something about it. It seemed fairly spontaneous to me, to be honest with you. Were some people probably in his ear that, yeah, you might want to do something about this. Sure. But we all know that Phil Brooks is not the guy that just does things to, because somebody tells him to do them. It's not quite his style. But, I think he did the best he could. But, once again, Stu and I, we talked about this last week that, there's some fans that are out there that feel like CM Punk's their hero. He's the rebel. And, he got teamed. I mean, then he comes off and does this promo dressed like John Cena that I've heard very few people say that they liked. It was very WWE, merchandise driven kind of, you know what I mean? And it just was not a good start to the weekend for him. And if you're of a certain mindset as a CM Punk fan, I don't, it couldn't have felt good, Phil.
I pause a little bit because, you know, there's a reason I say out loud, I'm the best Phil in wrestling. And this sort of reinforces it. You know, who is CM Punk really? And the hyperbole that's been surrounded him, that he's built for himself, the I don't know, whatever you feel about CM Punk, it's been crafted as everybody in wrestling is. You know, there's a mask that everybody gets into, but I think some people expect Punk to be this very genuine himself and not to hold the corporate side up when you need to at times for the sake of your job. Like everybody else who has a contract to a degree. And so I'm part of me wasn't shocked. Like, I was actually more like, I'm really surprised people are like this big on him, that he said anything. It just felt like, yeah, I totally could see this coming. I don't know. I really was not shocked or surprised by it at the end of the day.
Yeah, Stu. So sum up the weekend for Punk and the fans. What do you think?
You know, it's something that Phil just said, and it kind of keyed me into something I have believed for the years that I've been a part of wrestling media. Wrestling media in general will take the smallest little detail and overanalyze it to death. I see stories, and it not just your fly by night just to get clicks, but I'm talking about the reputable sources. I will see stories about something just innocuous, and I'm going, why in the hell are you writing a story about this? Who cares? CM Punk, yes, his image is crafted to a point. I think there is a shred of himself. There is a shred of Phil Brooks in CM Punk, in the, stand up against the authority or whatever. And, all in all, I think it's kind of what I said. He did his job because he's getting paid to do a job, and he headed home. And that was it. They tied up the bow on, John Cena versus CM Punk, that feud. He heads home, and he'll start his next chapter, whatever that will be.
I tell you, we'll talk about the matches in a little bit, but yeah, fascinating main event there. But I just wonder if that bow is tied up. I know that I think Triple H said that was the last time he and Cena and Punk are going to meet, but I don't know. After the ending of that match, maybe they'll be in the ring some way, somehow, at some point. We'll find out. But let's take a break.
It's almost like controversy creates cash.
Yeah, there you go. Phil Stamper dropping the Eric Bischoff references. Very good. All right, let's take a break, and we come back. We're going to look at the Night of Champions card and what happened. Pretty good setup card, I will say that. We're getting ready for SummerSlam. That probably did the job. And don't forget Eric Bischoff in hour number 2. So stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Stick around for a whole lot more when we return.
Hi, this is Manny at Fetch-A-Tech, the best plumbing and AC company here in Las Vegas. And I have to tell you that I love my dog, Ollie. And that's why we'll give you 10% off any plumbing or AC repairs if you have a pet in the house. Not kidding. At Fetch-A-Tech Air Conditioning and Plumbing, we show up on time, we keep our word, and are as loyal as your favorite dog. So what you waiting for? Call or Google Fetch-A-Tech and get an automatic 10% discount on repairs or get a $49 AC tune-up. And, as we all know, you can always trust someone who loves dogs. So, call Fetch-A-Tech. We're doggone good, and we're doggone fast. And if you have a pet, you get 10% off plumbing or AC repairs and a $49 tune-up. So call FetchAtech right now at 702-509-2000 or just Google FetchAtech. That's 702-509-2000 or Google FetchAtech, and we'll come a-running.
FetchAtech, service that's a freedom part.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. I'm Mark Hoke, trying to stay lubricated. I'm glad you guys laughed at that.
Wow.
What? With what are you goobers? Where did your minds go? By the way, Stu Myrick, you shaved.
Yeah, it was a trimming mistake.
Oh no.
It'll grow back.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long. It's all good. But I noticed
Actually,
that
it doesn't take long for me for some reason.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
So.
But yeah, it's a different look. I got all this bald, clean shaven stuff going on in the show. It's too much, man.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. Phil, you need a goatee.
I got this little stuff.
Yeah, you got the patch.
The soul patch, yeah.
Yeah, you need the goat. Just go for it, man.
Actually, Phil, you come down here. You could easily pass as a musician down on 6th Street.
Let's go. Hey, Austin is weird. I can be.
Yeah, you and the flying stampers playing emos.
Wow.
Emos is it. By the way, Emos is a bar on 6th Street. It is a live music venue.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like,
I'm sorry. Yeah. There, a little bit of context there, but yes, Emos is a live music venue on 6th Street here in the beautiful live music capital of the world.
I'd like to see Phil Stamper out with a guitar in the cup. Just see how he'd do.
First, I'd like to learn how to play guitar, and then we'll catch up.
No, that's the whole point.
I was going to say, I hope you people can teach you.
I'll just strum.
Yeah.
There was a wrestler I know who shall remain nameless. And he didn't know how to play guitar, but he knew chords, and he got gigs singing at bars and would just keep strumming the same chord over and over.
Wow.
I was going to say, that sounds like about a quarter of South by Southwest. So, hey.
There you go.
If you get paid to do it, why not?
Yeah, there you go. Well, the boys got paid over in Saudi Arabia. They make some good money going on those trips. And to kick things off on Night of Champions, we've finally got that Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton match that I've been screaming about that should have been a main event somewhere. But it ends up being King of the Ring final, and Cody Rhodes is King of the Ring, and he will be headed to SummerSlam to take on John Cena. So we'll get that rematch at SummerSlam. I think a lot of us thought was coming. But let's talk about Randy Orton first. He didn't look happy at the end of this thing. Is Randy going to snap again? Is it about time? Stu, we'll go to you.
I mean, it seems it's leading that way. If you believe the reports, especially from like say a year ago or so, it seemed to indicate Randy Orton was having fun with this stage of his career. I would suspect, if they go with the plan that has been reported on since WrestleMania 41 ended, Cody faces John Cena at SummerSlam. Cody wins the title back. Randy Orton turns on Cody. That seems to be kind of a logical way for it to go. Now, we all know WWE doesn't use logic sometimes, but I think that's at least what we should look for. We'll see if that changes.
So, Phil, Cody Rhodes looks like he is headed back to becoming the Universal Champion. But there was a story that came out, and I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but Cody was doing some interviews and got asked whether he gets tired of being a babyface. And he said, yeah, I don't want to be a cool heel, but yeah, this is going to end soon enough. Cody Rhodes going bad? Could it happen, Phil?
I feel like we're about 5 years too late. I feel like I was ready for that when by the time he came out with the Homelander gear, I was like, yeah, like this is the direction we need to go. We need full out heel Cody Rhodes to get the next new element of Cody. I feel like when he started back in WWE, it was too much of the balloon animal version of Cody Rhodes. Like everybody loves me. And now I feel like he needs some evolution, whatever that evolution is, even if it's not him going heel, just something more. The tease in this match was, Cody was more of the aggressor than Randy was, which is a odd sort of flip for both of them. The way Randy then leaves being upset, my brain's like, I'm almost waiting for a tag team match for them to be announced and Randy and Cody team up and Randy will turn on Cody. I feel like that's almost sort of the setup we'll see for whatever path that'll take Cody on.
Stu, is it good for business, though?
That's going to be the $64 question. I mean, look, we heard for years the reason they didn't turn John Cena heel was because he was selling way too much merch, the Make-A-Wish thing, everything. It would have killed a lot of that. I think A, we're in a different era, obviously. B, Cody has been a heel before, not in WWE even, but especially in TNA. It was still Impact at the time, Ring of Honor, even New Japan. So it's not like he hasn't played heel before. It felt like he was leaning there in his final days in AEW. It's one of those things where, okay, yeah, sure, he gets tired of being the good guy. I think most wrestlers probably do. I think if you poll most wrestlers, they would rather be a bad guy. That's his story. That goes back to the days of the Horsemen and the Freebirds.
Except there's people out there who don't. They want to be the bad guy. They want to have that aggressive part more activated, but then they want to be liked for doing it too.
Yes, and that's the difference. That's the difference nowadays. Back in the day, the Freebirds didn't care about didn't care about being liked and selling merch and all that good stuff. And again, back in the day, they got paid more to be a heel because they couldn't sell merch.
Right.
Now it's different. Now it's the bad guys aren't as bad as they were. So I think it's a matter of wait and see. I would be somewhat surprised if it happens if it happens by WrestleMania 42.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But for a guy who said that I don't believe in heels and faces, all of a sudden it's kind of Cody's getting the itch. You can tell. I mean, he was doing a lot of things in matches up until the John Cena match that were very heelish if you really watched close.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden with John Cena, I can't hit him with a belt, which kind of ruined a little bit of Cody's aura anyway.
Well,
so
and that kind of goes to the whole blurring of the lines of the last decade or plus, where you will see baby faces do some heelish things. You'll see heels do some baby face things. It's again that has contributed to this whole melding of the two sides of the coin.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, you look like he's something you want to say?
No. My I'm in the midst of having a migraine.
Oh, okay.
And there's lights coming in my eyes, and I was just trying to close my eyes.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we won't talk about that anymore then. All right. We get Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. Pretty good match, and gotta give Raquel Rodriguez some credit. She looked pretty darn good in this match. She and Rhea Ripley are great dance partners. And I think a lot of people were kind of down on her, and after her being out for a while, really, I won't say forgot, but just don't remember how good she is. And man, that was a great match. Phil, great match.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Rhea's one of the best competitors in the WWE right now, male or female. She's one of the most popular. And there's that argument to be made, like, then as the most popular person, you don't necessarily need the championship because you're already at the top. But there's also something to be said, like, no, then put her over towards now that, because that's more what people want to see. They want to see her go for gold because the ultimate goal is to be the champion again. So I see the path hopefully shifting for Rhea, or maybe just a little bit more of a build. Let her do one more thing. She needs to get out of the whole Judgment Day battling each other. I feel, and then just hit her up on another court. She'll be right there for the world championship.
Stu, what were your thoughts on that one?
I totally agree. This whole Rhea versus Judgment Day thing has been going on and going on and going on. And yes, Phil's right. They need to get Rhea into another program with somebody completely different. I think, they've been teasing the breakup of the Judgment Day for about a year now, and they haven't done it yet. Now with Liv Morgan out with the shoulder surgery, I'm sure that will delay it even longer. Having Roxanne Perez come down to try to help Raquel Rodriguez, it fed into the whole, it looks like they will probably just slide Roxanne into the tag team with Raquel, have them defend the tag titles. It was a good match. The one thing I did notice, it felt like both Cody versus Randy and that match went quickly. But I looked it up. King of the Ring finals went 19 minutes, 47 seconds. The street fight with Rhea and Raquel went 14:03. So pretty healthy times for matches, but they were paced so well, it felt like it was like all of a sudden it's over. So good job on that.
Yeah, so good match out of the two of them. And then we went to Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Of course, Kross can't take a back bump.
What the hell did that even come?
I don't know. That's one of the dumbest things. Stu, you were talking about stuff that gets said that's just so minute. I watched the guy wrestle so many times. Here, it's like, are you kidding me? Really? Well, he made sure he took a lot of back bumps, but he does lose the match to Sami Zayn, as he continues to try to be the instigator to get Sami to be a bad guy. What'd you think of this one? The match was good, but the result, is that the right way to go for Sammy to win, Phil?
It depends on what's next for Sammy, to be honest. I want to see where this goes from here. I don't think it hurts Cross, because this is sort of filling the narrative that we've been seeing. Oh, he wasn't at Mania when it was in Vegas, his hometown. Oh, he didn't get in King of the Ring. There was these things that have been building for the mythos of, like, we need this stronger base of support for Cross. So I don't see this changing in many respects, not all respects, but sometimes it feels like the Saudi pay-per-view is a lone entity that exists only in Saudi Arabia that we just happen to sort of be able to watch. And then we don't talk about it again until the next time we go to Saudi. Sometimes that's not the case, certainly when the championship changes or anything like that. So I don't think this derails Cross at all, but I am curious then what is next for Sammy. I saw a lot of comments more about Michael Cole's, some of his commentary during this match. So I'm interested in some of your takeaways from that.
Go ahead, Stu.
I want to hear what Phil says about Michael Cole's commentary. It was a fine match. I agree. I totally agree. It's going to depend on where they direct Sammy going forward. The whole carrying Cross thing with the back bumps and stuff seems, it almost seems like someone, I don't know, they got it from somewhere that they thought was legit, and it ends up being silliness.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to depend a lot. I also do wonder, could this, even with the loss, could this be like a precursor to maybe seeing Cross more on programming? Because I'll be honest, the entrance, I always thought Karrion Kross's entrance was really cool. I've always enjoyed it. Just seeing that entrance alone made me go, you know what, we need to see him on TV more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Phil, I'll plead ignorance. What were they saying about Michael Cole's commentary?
Well, again, this feeds into the whole, is there a conspiracy against Cross? He sometimes was like, he referred to, what was the word? Cross's offense was plotting, so he was moving slowly.
Oh yeah.
Well, I remember like he was slow moving, not necessarily like he was like being meticulous or diabolical or planning out. It made it feel like, oh, he's moving really slowly. And then he corrected himself, because he went back and was like, oh, I didn't mean that negatively. I meant, and then went on to correct it. And fans caught that. But I'm like, if anything, that just feeds more into the narrative of the body, the man, the entity, the machine feels like it's against Cross.
And Cole and Wade even referenced this, for lack of a better term, groundswell of, a ground roots effort to get, for Karrion Kross. They even referenced it on commentary. I do remember that. And I was thinking, okay, so they're actually kind of playing into this a little bit.
All I know is Vegas is pissed. That's it. We're ready for Kross to get the big push. It's about time. So, but that was that one. And then we go to the United States Championship match. Solo Sikoa bringing out the Samoan Polynesian Army, whatever you want to call it. And we get Talatonga, otherwise known as Hikuleo, helping out, but a 4-on-1 and take the belt off Jacob Fatu. I don't know, man. It's another massive interference and, extending the bloodline situation. Stu, did you like the title change?
I'm not sure I had a preference one way or the other. It was good to see Tongaloa back. I got to hang out with Tama and Tonga. I had them on Super Bowl Radio Row a few years ago promoting some stuff, and it was good to meet them and talk to them. And I really like Tonga, and so it was good to see him back. I'm sorry, changing Hikuleo's name to Tala Tonga.
He's Tala.
Come on, really?
It's like a Hala Tala.
I mean, it's not as bad as Shorty G, but just cheesy. The problem with Solo right now is the simple fact of, okay, he's gathering. He's got Jeff Cobb. I'm sorry, JC Mateo. Now he's got Tamatanga Tongaloa, and now he's got Tala Tonga. But to what end? Is it just a faction of Islanders or what? Because I don't feel good saying this, but I'm not convinced that people are taking Solo Sikoa that seriously.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think a lot of eyes are on Jacob Fatu as being sort of the future. And you're right. Solo came in to be the next guy in a way. Like, I think the appearance of him in the bloodline, the way they introduced him, he's the next guy. And then all of a sudden, here's Fatu, and everyone's pointing at Fatu, going, even in promos, Fatu, you're the next guy, not Solo. And it's so I feel they took power out of Solo. But I will say this for the United States Championship, we went from what was it, 2 title changes in 2024 to 3 title changes in 4 months. Or no, 3 months since March. So it's like, all right, what's this pacing? Like, what are we doing? I like that when you sort of show like, hey, this can be won by so many people. There's so many people ready for this championship. Is that the swell you're getting? Or is it just this rivalry between Jacob and Solo is now so hot that now they're going to trade off for maybe a minute?
I think the one tricky part, and Steve, you kind of brought this up, and something I was considering of asking Eric Bischoff about is, how do you find the end game to this story? We had the bloodline, and what was a great ending point with Roman losing the title, but then where do you take it? And now we've got Polynesians everywhere teaming up, and it's kind of a mess. Where does it stop?
That's a big question, because again, it feels like something that WWE does it a little, AEW does it more, but factions in WWE aren't that common. Yeah, you got Judgment Day, you got Rollins and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, which don't have a name. This one faction though feels like putting them together as for the sake of convenience more than anything.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where this is all going to wind up, because you can't keep doing this forever. No. We can't.
And the crazy thing is, Jeff Cobb is a much better competitor as a singles wrestler. I've called matches, I've seen matches, been there with him. He is much better. Tama and Tonga, one of the greatest tag teams ever. Look at all the titles they won in New Japan. They need to be, in that world tag title picture. And then Hikuleo, I think he could be like a good enforcer, but again, putting them all together into this, pseudo bloodline or whatever hell you want to call it. No, it doesn't. I don't think it gels, quite honestly.
Well, we'll give it a chance, see what happens. And hopefully Jacob Fatu doesn't get buried through this whole process. We'll see how it goes. But congrats to Solo. Vegas happy about that one. Thrilled to see him getting a nice title and making a run. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back here on the Mark Hoke Show, wrap it up with Night of Champions, and then Eric Bischoff. Yes, that Eric Bischoff, the king of WCW and host of 83 Weeks and so much more, will be joining us in hour number 2. So stick around. Stu Myrick, Phil Stamper, and myself, Mark Hoke, will be right back.
Get your team outfitted for the Vegas heat. Off-Grid Creations delivers high-quality custom screen printing with a personal touch. Custom company swag is always a cool idea, and we've got hot deals for the hot weather. Whether it's a few t-shirts for an event, band merch, or family reunion gear, we've got you covered. Need a large order for uniforms, sports teams, or clubs? Our team will guide you from design to final product. Call 661-300-1115 or visit off-gridcreations.com. Get your free consultation today.
With the 2 Jewels of Henderson, the Emerald Island Casino, and the Rainbow Club, you've got the best paying slots valley-wide, best video poker valley-wide, and the best food and service you'll find in all of Southern Nevada. The Emerald Island and Rainbow Club casinos, where slot players are treated like royalty and everyone is greeted and treated like family. Great daily specials and parking is always free. Join your friends, family, and neighbors for round-the-clock fun. Think different, think better. Think Emerald Island and Rainbow Club casinos, the jewels in downtown Henderson's historic Water Street district, where everyone's a winner.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co. LLC. Used with permission.
Empower.
Tim collects bobbleheads. A lot of bobbleheads. Baseball bobbleheads. Race car bobbleheads. Little Chihuahua bobbleheads. He's got an entire room strictly for bobbleheads. Does he need them? No. Is his wife mad about it? A little. But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Ooh, horse bobblehead. Classy, Tim. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Mark Hoke Show. All three of us are injured today in one way or another, as I have been fighting off a cold, so please bear with me on the voice. Phil Stamper apparently has a migraine, and Stu Myrick lost his hair.
No, I just cut it short. That's all.
Well,
there's still hair up there. It's not. It's the way I do. Yes, now the hairline is receding. You know,
it's gone.
It's receding pretty far back. You know, but there is still hair up there.
I love working with you guys. You're unbelievable. And don't forget, coming up in hour number 2, Eric Bischoff is going to be on the show. I swear to God, I could talk to Eric Bischoff for 5 hours at least, but we got him for a half hour. So tune on in or stay here and check it out. Eric Bischoff coming up in hour 2 of the Mark Hoke Show. 2 more matches happened on the old Night of Champions card. Jade Cargill is now Queen of the Ring. She beats Asuka. Asuka's comeback is spoiled. Jade has kind of a rough finish to the match. And guys, that does not help her. That does not help her reputation at all, because, you know, I saw one tweet that said, if Asuka can't carry Jade Cargill, who can? And I'm not saying that that's necessarily accurate, but that is certainly an issue that WWE has got to be kind of looking at with that perception. Would you say that is a fair thing to say, Phil?
Yes. I think a lot of people have been questioning how everything was going to work for Jade when she went to the WWE. For a while, it was like she's still getting a little. Honestly, the sense was coddled. I think she's a tremendous athlete. I think she looks like $1 million as a physical performer. The wrestling ability is not there, but she shines as a personality. And it's like, is it just a more time thing? It was like you got pushed to this main roster. Really, you needed to be developed before you did this. And I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know where you go from here.
Yeah, Stu. I mean, she's going to be challenging for the world championship, and whether that championship ring, because I think she may win at SummerSlam and Naomi gets cash in. Good possibility on that. But you still have to be looked at as somebody in the ring that is good enough to be the world champion. And I'm not saying that she isn't, but it's just these little flubs. And unfortunately, it's just her reputation that she makes some mistakes in the ring in a really big spot. I mean, if this was just about anywhere else, nobody would care, but it's at the height of the WWE. And it's stinging her.
Yeah, it is. And that's, look, she's been, 4 years now as a wrestler since she joined Nightmare Factory. She's getting over because of her look, because of her power. But yeah, that match did not help things. I almost thought they were going to make a controversy on the pin attempt because it looked like Jade almost over rotated on the pin of Asuka. If they plan to do something, I think there's a very good chance that you'll be Jade defeats, I guess, Tiffany Stratton, wins the title in a hard-fought match, then here comes Naomi, cash in, Naomi wins. So as far as Jade, I don't know. And that's the thing, because I think there was a time in WWE where if they kept seeing this stuff, push is over.
Yeah.
You're going to be, you're doing main event now.
Yeah. They're in a really tricky place. And look, I mean, she's such an incredible athlete. I mean, there's no question about that, but those are the kind of mistakes that you just can't make. And now you're going to have her one of the main events at SummerSlam coming up. You got to, and she's in with a younger performer too, with Tiffany Stratton in all probability. So, this is going to be pretty interesting to see how that match turns out. I mean, they've worked together before, but who knows? We'll keep an eye on it. John Cena beats CM Punk. Everybody and their grandmother came out to help out at the end of this match. Seth Rollins stomps Punk into the ground after John Cena tries to sucker Punk in, and John Cena walks out as still the undisputed WWE champion. Thoughts on this match? Stu Myrick, I'll give it to you first. We got about 2 minutes, guys, so give it some time.
This seems to be the playbook for the John Cena retirement tour. Overbook the finish, multiple interferences, multiple ref bumps. I don't think it's doing John Cena's retirement tour any favors.
Phil, what did you think of this one?
Agreed. I mean, it really is following that playbook. That's really what it is. It's they're in some ways this might be trying to protect Cena to let him continue that run for as long as he can, make it more controversial so it looks and feels maybe more challenging and difficult. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, Penta sure took his time, by the way, didn't he? I'm sorry. That was funny. All hell's breaking loose in the ring, and Penta's music hits, and he's just out there strutting it
doing his strut.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe think of Jeff Hardy coming down to help Matt, but he had to do his little dance first.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Oh, my God. But, yeah, so John Cena holds on, so it'll be John Cena and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Looks like we're going to get more CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I don't know. I think a 4-way match would be kind of fun, too. I'll just throw that possibility out. We'll Get all those guys in the ring together at once.
No, but you gotta have Seth cash in. So don't include Seth.
Oh, true. Later on. Maybe that's John's last match. Does some crazy 4-way or something. All right. That wraps up hour number 1 of the Mark Hoke Show. We have all survived, and now we get ready to be joined in hour number 2 by pro wrestling legend, one of the most controversial figures in the history of the industry. No doubt about it. As Eric Bischoff is going to be on the show with us here in a little bit. So you definitely want to stick around for that. Stu Myrick, Phil Stamper, I'm Mark Hoke. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the other side of the break here on the Mark Hoke Show.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Ready to crank up your career in Las Vegas? This is Air Supply, and we're looking for the best residential AC technicians and installers in the biz. If you got the skills, we got opportunities. We're talking top pay, weekly training, steady work, and a 4-day work week. Plus, right now, we're throwing in a $2,500 signing bonus. Your focus on the customer, that's what we value. Your expertise, that's what we respect. Ready to build an amazing future? Call us today at 702-328-0888. That's 702-328-0888.
Are you purchasing or leasing a new vehicle and need some extra cash for a down payment? Dollar Loan Center has you covered.
Dollar Loan Center. Dollar Loan Center. Dollar Loan Center.
Getting a new vehicle is always expensive. Down payment, registration, insurance, title, and tags, it never ends. But Don'tBeBroke.com can help. At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a signature loan up to $5,000, and you get your money the same day. Actually, you usually get it in around 30 minutes. It's that quick. And unlike your car loan, less than perfect credit is the norm at DLC. Stop by one of our 60 locations, apply over the phone with a real person, or online at don'tbebroke.com from the comfort of your smartphone.
Dollar Loan Center.
Dollar Loan Center has you covered.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
For 30 years, the LGBTQ Center of Nevada has been a safe and welcoming place to celebrate and serve the entire community. The center advocates for the empowerment and safety of everyone. It provides wellness services for better mental, physical, and holistic health. And the center connects people to the community. Learn more at thecenterlv.org. This message is sponsored by a grant through the Sands Corporation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co. LLC. Used with permission.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K268CS Las Vegas. Always live on the free Odyssey app. 1015 FM KDAWN.
Reading every word of it out loud. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. The so-called big, beautiful budget bill, all 940 pages of it in the Senate chamber at Democrats' insistence. This after the Senate narrowly voted to advance the bill to its final hours of debate last night.
they're technically supposed to read the bill out loud. They're what they call 3 readings of a bill. And in the old days, there was only one copy of the bill. You know, it was written on parchment paper. They did this with a scroll and a quill. So if you didn't actually see the bill, you could hear it read, and it was pretty short. And you got 3 chances to be in the chamber to hear it. What routinely happens is the clerk reads just the title of the bill, and then somebody asks unanimous consent to say we're going to terminate the reading of the bill. That happens almost constantly. And so here, Chuck Schumer objected, and that is his right.
Fox's Chad Pergram reports debate will begin later today, followed by hours of voting on various amendments. After more than 630 days of fighting, efforts to end the Israel-Hamas war are ramping up. As Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
President Trump says that a ceasefire could be reached to end the war in Gaza within a week. Now, if that happens, the region could see the remaining 50 hostages freed from Hamas captivity and much of the suffering alleviated for the Palestinian people. The president is looking to build off the momentum that was reached following the end of the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. Tomorrow, Ron Dermer, a top advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is scheduled to visit Washington to move the process forward. As these diplomatic efforts take place, they may also lead to additional normalization deals in the region and more stability for the Middle East.
Israeli forces continue to operate in Gaza. The IDF says they've killed one of Hamas' founders. Russia launched its largest aerial assault of the war overnight, firing more than 500 drones and missiles at Ukraine. Ukraine says nearly half were stopped, but the attack hit areas far from the front lines. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
You never hear me call myself a journalist. I'm not. I'm not a journalist. And a talk show host has opinions, and I do have an opinion. I'm an opinion journalist. I don't hide and say I'm object. I'm not.
Sean Hannity, weekdays at noon on 1015 KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. Yes, it's your raspy host today. I'm going all Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks on everyone today, just for fun on the Mark Hoke Show. Here on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Also streaming on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Make sure you get that app. And I promise you that joy and happiness will reign forever in your house. So get that app. And of course, we're also streaming on YouTube X and Facebook. I got me compadres, Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling and Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver on the show with me. But let's just get him in here, shall we? We don't want to waste any time. One of the most incredible figures in pro wrestling history. Of course, got everything rolling in the AWA. Yes, I remember that. And, of course, spearheaded WCW and Monday Nitro and the Monday Night Wars. And, of course, has been working with WWE TNA. Has the very successful 83 Weeks podcast with Comrade Thompson. And is also one of the founders of Real American Freestyle. That's freestyle wrestling. They're going to have their first event August 30th at the Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's welcome in the Hall of Famer, the legend himself. Eric Bischoff is on the Mark Hoke Show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you? Good to see you, Mark.
Yeah, good to see you again, too. Good to see you. Hey, did you get through a DDP's gauntlet okay, by the way? I saw that video. Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. You know, I had called DDP a couple weeks before I went down there to do that and said, hey, I'd really like to get an interview with you and Lex, which I did. And I think we actually even did it live. So I was down in Atlanta and I was staying at Paige's house, right? And he said to me, he called me like right before I was supposed to get in town. He called me and says, hey, bro, you working out a little bit, right? I said, yeah, I'm working out. I didn't go into any detail. He goes, bring your gear, man. We can do our gauntlet. And he described what it was. And it's very cool. Like he's doing a lot of things to their longevity protocols is what they really are for people who are our age that want to stay active longer as opposed to the opposite of that. So some of this stuff I've been kind of rabbit holed into anyway. You know, I'm really interested in a lot of it. So I thought, sure, why not? I'll do it. You know, I'm in reasonably good shape. I'll give it a shot. See how reasonably good a shape I really am in. And I went down and did it and had a blast. It was really eye-opening. The oxygen deprivation part of that thing was probably the most eye-opening for me. I really was fascinated by how that all works. So it was fun, man. It was fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. DDP got to tear you apart. Maybe a little revenge somewhat for DDP on you.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was so much fun. And, you know, he didn't realize that I was in pretty good shape. The last time Paige saw me, I was kind of like, I looked like I was about 6 months pregnant, you know, like I was trying to make some kind of political statement. but I've dropped about 30 or 35 pounds and put on some lean tissue. So it was a shock to him. So that part of it was fun.
Yeah, I had to say, by the way, when we got to meet during WrestleMania week, I think other than just getting to meet you, I think a lot of us were saying, wow, what incredible shape Eric Bischoff is in now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's fun because I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 35, truth be known, in many ways, maybe not in every way. I've lost some flexibility along the way because I haven't focused on that. I can gain it back pretty quick because I'm naturally fairly flexible. But other than my flexibility, and probably my cardio isn't quite as good as it was when I was in my 30s because I was doing a lot of running back then. I'm not now. But overall, metabolically, I'm in way better shape, man. The carnivore diet is what started it. I got into the carnivore diet and I started seeing these physical changes in me and the way, more importantly, the way I felt. I had more energy, which means I could actually want to do more. And it's just like this compounding interest kind of thing where you make a little bit of progress in one area and then you can make even more in another. And it just kept building and building and building. And then I got into the weight training rabbit hole, which I've never been in my life. I've never liked touching weights. I'd do it for like 3-4 months, maybe, and then not. But now it's like I actually enjoy it. It's a great mind-body connection for me.
I'll have to get some advice from you on that because I need to get in some decent shape now too. But,
yeah, it was complicated for me, man. The biggest challenge is in your head. Once you get past your head, the rest of it's fun. Your head's like the biggest obstacle, and I've been fighting that bastard for about 20 years. I think I finally kicked his ass.
There you go. Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit as we get started, and we mentioned about the AWA days. You know, your beginnings in getting into pro wrestling. Just fascinating. And tell everybody a little bit about how that whole thing happened and how you got involved in the AWA.
Yeah, it was, either destiny or happenstance, depending on your look on life. I lean into destiny. It was supposed to happen, but it was abstract because I had never for a single moment of my life had I ever had a nanosecond of thought within the neurotransmitters of the deepest parts of my brain about getting into the professional wrestling business. There's nothing, it never occurred to me. But I was primarily, I've been in sales for the most part all of my life. Once in a while I'd step out and do something else, but for the 90% of my total career, starting at about age 16, I've been in one form of sales or another. And I had this project, this idea, me and Sonny Ono, longtime, lifelong friend, generational friend. Sonny really came up with this idea, but we collaborated a lot on it. And it was a kid's action game called Ninja Star Wars. It was like, think about, paintball, but instead of paintball guns, you got these little ninja throwy stars that are made out of Velcro, and they stick to your felt vest with your little ninja character. It was kind of a cool idea, really. But we went into that business and ordered like 5,000 games and had them shipped over from Korea. We're like, oh, we're going to make $1 million. And we went, okay, now they're here. How do we sell these? Like, we never got to that part. We were so excited about the product that we never thought through a marketing plan. It was like, wow, we'll figure it out once they get here. Okay, now they're here. What are we going to do? So we tried a bunch of different things, and some of them worked really well. Like my wife and I would go to we go to malls where they have these stores called GameStop. Back then, I don't know if they still have them. I haven't been in a mall in a long time. But my wife and I would demonstrate the game. We put on the, little eye protectors with the ninja, Karate Kid's kind of gimmick on the top, and we'd have our felt vest on. And my wife and I out there in front of the store playing tag with these games. And people walking by would go, oh, that looks fun. I'll buy one. So we knew that the product was probably viable if we could get it out into the public in a scalable way, not me and my wife in a mall,
Yeah.
Not quite enough. So at that time, I lived in Minnesota, and Vern Gagne in the AWA had a show on ESPN Monday through Friday at 3:00 in the afternoon, Central Time. And I was a sales manager for a food processor. I had about anywhere from 12 to 18 salespeople working for me at any given time. So I was moderately successful, I guess, and doing okay. It was, not making a ton of money, but I wasn't hurting either. I was just comfortable, especially at that age. Like it didn't take much for me to get comfortable. So still doesn't, to be true. So I said, hey, I was an amateur wrestler in Minnesota. I wrestled at Minnetonka Senior High School on the varsity team my senior year, JV my junior year. And because of my participation in amateur wrestling, I became acquainted with Vern Gagne because Vern was a really big supporter of amateur wrestling in the state of Minnesota. Tied very closely to the University of Minnesota, was very much involved from a financial support and public relations perspective to help build the University of Minnesota wrestling team. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna play the professional wrestling card, or excuse me, the amateur wrestling card, and say, hey, Vern Gagne, my name's Eric Bischoff, and I wrestled for Ray Christensen at Minnetonka Senior High School in 1973. And man, he used to help us out a lot. We were raising money for our team, and I was just wondering if I could get a meeting with you and show you an idea I have. It's basically what I did. And Vern responded, and I had that conversation. Had a meeting with Vern probably the next day or two, demonstrated the game, pitched him an idea. I said, I'll produce the commercial, which I didn't even know how to do at the time, but I said, I'll figure it out. I'll produce the commercial. I'll give it to you. You put it on your show Monday through Friday. We sell the games via 1-800. Here's how much the games cost me. Here's how much the shipping and handling is. Here's how much profit we make. We'll split it 50-50. Vern said, sure, I'll do that. After he did that, we ran the commercial for about a month, did pretty well, and Vern offered me a job to come in and take over a sales function within AWA. That is talking more TV stations in the market to carry more of Vern Gagne's wrestling product. So once again, I was just right back in sales. I was, instead of selling food and managing salespeople, I was selling a wrestling show.
Oh, it's incredible. And
yeah, it's being in the right place at the right time. I had this much actual real connective tissue to Vern, but I wasn't afraid to try to play it. It worked. I got lucky, to be honest with you, or it was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen.
Yeah, and then the rest is history, of course, is, went on to WCW, and it is amazing to me how much people are still breaking down what went right, what went wrong with WCW. It just seems to never end. I mean, we just had the Who Killed WCW series a while ago, which I thought came out pretty favorably for you. are you still surprised that people are talking about WCW and in such depth after all this time?
Yes and no. Yes, I'm surprised and grateful that it left enough of an impression, generationally speaking, amongst wrestling fans that the subject is now a topic of conversation amongst a generation of people that weren't even alive when it all went down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fascinating. And it says a lot to how important that time, that era, that Monday Night War era was such an important evolution in the industry, even as we know it today. Had it not been for the Monday Night War era and all the craziness that went on in both companies competing for that 18 to 49-year-old demo, that's not how it started. It started with WWE focusing on teens and preteens. I couldn't beat them at that. They were too good. They had a lock on that in every way. But they were underserving the 18 to 49-year-old audience. So I made a creative decision to go after the audience where I at least had a chance. And we won them fast. We owned them for a long time until Vince McMahon went, ooh, we've got to change our formula. Our formula for teens and preteens isn't working. We need to do what Eric's doing. He would never say my name, but we need to do what Ted's doing. Because Vince, and I understand this as a man, especially as an A personality, which I am, and so is Vince, and so are a lot of people I work with. You're out there, entrepreneurs generally are, right? Vince, I think, was okay admitting that he was getting his ass kicked by Ted Turner because Ted Turner was so much bigger and he could be the babyface underdog, right? He could be the sympathetic babyface in his story. So he was comfortable talking about that. He didn't want to admit that this guy that, he tried to sell a broom, a couple years earlier was just spanking him like a little spoiled baby. And that was hard on his head to admit that. Still is to this day. Sorry, Vince, get over it. Don't be a bitch.
Well, one thing that came up recently, and when I asked this question at the press conference, Tony, about WWE scheduling on top of AEW events, you went right at Vince McMahon. Now, you guys could have gone a different night. You could have done things totally differently, but you chose to go heads up on him. And now we're kind of seeing that a little bit today with WWE going after AEW. What are the positives and negatives of going head to head like that?
There's no similarity between what I did and the way I went head to head, because I not only went head to head, I did it in a mercenary-like way, giving away their finishes, starting my show 3 minutes before their show could start so I could give away their finishes before anybody even checked out the open of the show. That's some like Sun Tzu Art of War ninja shit.
It was cold. It was cold, man. Just say it.
But here's the difference. I was the underdog. I was the noisy little kid that everybody thought was a sissy, that all of a sudden stood up and started calling out the bully. I mean, that's the psychology behind it, right? That's not the way I felt. But the difference between being the underdog and picking the fight with number one and what you're suggesting, which is number one deciding to pick a fight with the underdog. The psychology between those two scenarios is completely different, meaning you can expect a different outcome in terms of commentary and PR and social media impact. Now you're a bully picking on number two. You're making the number two a sympathetic babyface, which right now nobody really wants that either because it is what it is. It has a very small but vocal core audience. Very small, but very vocal. So if I were in WWE, I wouldn't do that. I would find a way around that. Now, here's another part of that equation, though. This is the part that nobody is even willing to discuss because, well, it requires critical thinking. And generally, people go, oh, critical thinking. I just want to go through scroll my TikTok and get an idea. Just the dopamine hit. That's all I need. But if you think about it, look how much WWE is expanding their content across all platforms. Now, I'm not a social media expert at all. Frankly, some of it, most of it, I try not to engage in because it's just generally kind of low-hanging intellectual fruit. But it's also a source of some good information if you learn how to use it correctly. But with the expansion of everything WWE is doing, there are only 7 days in a week. And some of them are already staked out. So your options, if you need to expand your content, because that's what your business model does, that's how it grows, that's how you return value to your shareholders. So it's not like you have a choice. Well, you do, but if you make the wrong ones, you're not making the right choice for your shareholders. So you continue to grow, build more product that you can sell out into the marketplace because consumers are demanding it. So which night of the week are we not going to compete with a number 2 competitor or a number 3 competitor? The answer is hardly any. That makes sense. So I don't think that here's my point in all this. I'm just trying to give you the context. I don't think there's anybody in WWE that's sitting around going, how can we stick it to AEW? I don't believe that. The internet wrestling community absolutely believes that because they won't think any further beyond that because it gets them their dopamine hit and something to talk about and feel important because they have an opinion that people react to. That's it. They stop right there without thinking about, okay, what is the WWE business model? It's a publicly held company. Their core business is intellectual property in all ways, shapes, or forms. Well, how do you make your company bigger? You make more intellectual property. Well, there's only 7 days in a week. What's going to happen? We're going to actually go head to head with an AEW company. Oh my God, the internet's going to melt down. In the meantime, somebody else is saying, screw the internet. They don't chart the course for our 5-year revenue projections. You know what I mean?
Very much. So let me ask you this, and I want to try and make sure I give Phil and Stu a chance here too. But do you feel like WWE is trying to completely take over the pro wrestling industry with some of the moves that they made buying AAA and the teaming up with TNA? Is that? Do you think that's their ultimate goal?
No, I think their ultimate goal is what I just spent 6 minutes, driving you guys crazy listening to. The ultimate goal is their business model and executing on it. It may appear from the outside of the execution of that business model that, oh my God, it looks like they are everywhere. They're owning everything. Yeah, they're buying assets. That's what every company does. Look how many food brands Nestle's own that were once independent companies. That's business, folks. That's capitalism. That's the public market. That's how this shit works. They have to keep growing in order to satisfy their shareholders. And the only way they can grow is to make more stuff. When they make more stuff or buy more stuff, the internet goes, oh my God, they want to rule the world. They might end up ruling the world, but it's not their ultimate goal.
Fair enough. Phil, do you have a question for Eric?
I didn't mean to scold you there, Mark. It was a really good question. I was actually scolding the general audience that all kind of thinks along those lines. And it's not about scolding, but it's just like, people, take a look at another perspective on this before you jump into the emotional, low-hanging dopamine fruit hit. Just think about it.
Fair enough. Phil, fire away.
I'm really excited about Real American Freestyle, and it's coming. And I
Me too, brother.
I
Yeah,
saw
mine is
this
too.
rise of different combat sports. I mean, we of course we have UFC, but now UFC BJJ, Final X was building up, and now we have Real American Freestyle. So I'm really interested in finding out from you why go into that territory, what really excites you about it, and what do you look forward to?
Really good question. Are you guys have a time limit on this show?
If you want to stay for the whole hour, I'd love to keep you on. I was told
we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and as you've not noticed, I talk a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I'll do my best.
No, if you want to stay the whole hour, Eric, you're more than welcome. We love to have
Yeah,
this,
I got nothing. I'm fine. So
okay. I do have to take a commercial break at some point here, so
you just let me know when.
Okay, will do.
About April, somewhere in there, I got a call from Hulk Hogan. He has a business partner in Real American Beer, young man by the name of Chad Bronstein. Chad's a very successful entrepreneur. He's really, really a uniquely gifted business person. Very young, too. It's impressive. But anyway, they called me one day and said, hey, and by the way, Chad, Hulk's other partner, was an amateur wrestler. He's grooming his son to become, 8-year-old son to become an amateur wrestler. So he's very much in that world and believes in it and sees opportunity there. So they had talked about, Chad and Hulk had talked about, hey, what if we, produce this, freestyle wrestling idea for television? And Hulk said, sure, let me call my friend Eric. They introduced the idea to me, and I saw the picture immediately in my head. I saw the opportunity immediately in my head. I wrestled in high school. 2 years out of high school, I wrestled AAU, which was Amateur Athletic Union back then. It was the sanctioning body before USA Wrestling, I think. And I wrestled freestyle and Greco-Roman for a couple years. So, and I was never that good at it. I just loved it. That was my world, and my friends were all in that world. And as a result of that, I got a feel for the unique elements within amateur wrestling that the general media, sports fans haven't really seen unless you watch the NCAA finals that comes around once a year, or you watch the Olympics that comes around once every 4 years. And freestyle wrestling is kind of off your radar. So that's the opportunity. Now the question becomes, how do we do it? And we've gone out and signed, at this point, I think it's around 43 to 45 elite of the elite world-class freestyle wrestlers from around the world. The best of the best. And we're releasing some of those names as we go, but, Hendrickson, for example, the heavyweight that won the NCAA division, heavyweight division, and wrapped himself in the flag, went out there with Trump. He signed with us. Kennedy Blades, silver medalist in the Olympics. She signed with us. Real Woods. Just Bo Nickel, by the way.
One of my favorites.
Chael Sonnen is our color commentator. People know him from the UFC. We're going to be announcing our play-by-play host on Tuesday. Our play-by-play, commentator on Tuesday to work with Chael. Super excited about that. We've got a big announcement coming out July 21st. That should fire everybody up. And I put together one of the best production teams I could to present this thing on television in a way that's going to make people go, wow, I didn't even know this existed. We can do that, we win.
I can't wait. I wrestled in high school too, and big Penn State fan, and went to North Dakota State too, where we had a pretty good wrestling tradition. So
yes,
so I cannot wait for this. It's going to be awesome.
People from North Dakota. Every single time I find myself in a tournament with somebody from North Dakota, I guarantee you they grew up in a barn.
Yeah.
Throwing 120-pound hay bales around since they were 9.
Mm-hmm. And you were one of them.
They have like gorilla grip. They look kind of arm skinny, like they're not really that impressive. They don't come to the ring or the mat all jacked up and looking that strong. And then they get a hold of you and it's like, mother of God, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I learned that real quick up there too with those guys. That's for sure. All right, we got to take our first commercial break, but we're going to have Eric Bischoff apparently for the whole hour, which I am thrilled about. So stick around, everybody. The legend, himself, Eric Bischoff, joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show. Stu Myrick, Phil Stamper along with me for the ride. We certainly appreciate it. Stick around here on KDAWN and the Odyssey app for more of the Mark Hoke Show. We'll be right back.
With the two Jewels of Henderson, the Emerald Island Casino, and the Rainbow Club, you've got the best paying slots valley-wide, best video poker valley-wide, and the best food and service you'll find in all of Southern Nevada. The Emerald Island and Rainbow Club casinos, where slot players are treated like royalty and everyone is greeted and treated like family. Great daily specials and parking is always free. Join your friends, family, and neighbors for round-the-clock fun. Think different, think better. Think Emerald Island and Rainbow Club casinos, the jewels in downtown Henderson's historic Water Street district, where everyone's a winner.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. 4Runner's an off-road icon. Tundra hauls it all with its tenacious twin-turbo engine. And Tacoma takes adventure straight to the top. Want to ride with sizzling hot style and efficiency? The all-hybrid Camry is revving and ready. Visit Toyota.com or your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
Visit your Southern Nevada Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $15. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQBar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQBar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping when you text EAT to 64,000. Text EAT to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's EAT to 64,000.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on KDAWN 1015 FM. The talk of Las Vegas, also streaming on the Odyssey app and live streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook. Just look up the Mark Hoke Show. You'll find it, guaranteed. And we've got bonus time with one of the great figures in pro wrestling history, Eric Bischoff, of course, from Ad Free Shows, 83 Weeks podcast, and just, well, he's all over the planet. That's just you try to hide in Wyoming, but it doesn't work out, does it?
No, well, you know, I've been blessed and I've been able to get a lot of the stuff I do, I'm able to do from home. Technology, you know, just something as simple as StreamYard or Zoom has made it a lot easier to be able to be remote for me because of the nature of my work. So I get to spend quite a bit of time here. But that's about to change. Next couple of weeks are going to get a little nuts. The closer we get to August 30th, the crazier it's going to get.
Well, hopefully you make a stop back here in Vegas. We'd love to have you in studio again. It'd be great. So
I think I'm going to be there for something. I don't remember, but I'll let you know.
Okay, please do. Stu, you have a question for Eric?
Yeah, Eric, great to talk to you. Welcome to the show. I wanted to ask you about Mark Raymond. He works for ESPN. He just put out a book about the NWO. Wanted to ask if you've seen it and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I am going to, as rare as it may seem, I'm going to be as elegant about what I'm about to say as I can be. Usually I don't really care too much, but I'm going to withhold any comments about that book for right now. We'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, Eric, I had seen a while back you were talking about how important storytelling is in pro wrestling and where you value it over the in-ring action. And where do you see storytelling in pro wrestling right now? How good is it? And is there a relationship? What is the relationship you feel between story and in-ring? How important is each?
They're equally important. In the best case scenario, your creative and your dialogue are in harmony. It's perfect. What's the dialogue in professional wrestling? The action in the ring. That's the physical storytelling device. On a Broadway play, you have the written word or the spoken word. In professional wrestling, you have a little bit of narrative opportunity, not all that much. The majority of the emotion, the storytelling that drives the story forward comes out of the in-ring action. So the in-ring action has to be on equal par of the writing if you want success, ultimate success. Probably hardly ever is, but that's always the goal, or should be the goal. But they're equal. It's not one over the other. I think it's a little bit like, just think about it this way. Again, critical thinking. Take the professional wrestling out of it and what everybody thinks they know about professional wrestling. And just imagine going to a movie where you've got Tom Cruise, great actor, known for doing great stunts, amazing stuff that's really kind of crazy for his age because he does so much of his own stuff. And then the next movie you see him in, and they're really lame stunts. And the dialogue isn't really the story. The character is just, That's kind of lukewarm story meeting lukewarm performance. And the same thing is true in wrestling. You want great storylines, but you also want great execution of those storylines in the ring. So 50-50 on that one. Where do I see it today? I think WWE, while not perfect, is striving towards it and is leading the way by a mile when it comes to the way they're structuring and detailing their stories. There is a lot more thought that is going into creative now than there probably ever has been. Forward thought, like, okay, we want to build this storyline. Let's sit down and play it out over the course of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever, so that each and every one of those weeks advances the story in a compelling way. You're not just servicing the story, you're advancing the story in a compelling way. That's a lot different than the way most professional wrestling has ever been produced, including me. I never got to that level. I see it now, the need for it, but while I was doing it, I was kind of like figuring all that stuff out. I think WWE is well on its way there. Now, you could argue, yeah, but all the stories, this story isn't that good. I'm not arguing about the quality of the story. I'm pointing out the structure of the stories that I see and the way they're playing out and the detail at which they're attempting to advance stories. Sometimes they win, sometimes but at least they're trying. That's what I see. And in AEW, I see the opposite of that. I see creative over-servicing the smallest percentage of the overall wrestling audience, which is why their audience is what it is and is not going to get any bigger. There's anybody that projects growth for AEW is in another world.
What would you change about AEW if Tony Khan called you up tomorrow and said, Tony or Eric, take charge? Without going super long.
I would never go near that in a million years. But Tony Khan said, hey, what would you do if you were me? I would say focus as much on the quality of your storytelling, not to satisfy the small little handful of people that will be satisfied with just about anything you do, including biting the head off of a chicken live on TV. That's not the driver you want. You want the broader audience, and the only way to get there is to be more disciplined and discerning over your creative. And that would require somebody else doing it, because Tony doesn't have that mindset. Nobody there has the experience or the approach or the vision to take AEW in the direction it really needs to go. There's nobody there that's equipped to do it, which is another reason why it doesn't get done. Because they don't want to bring anybody else in that does know how to do it. Because perception gets all fucked up. Sorry, didn't know if I could drop F-bombs. But
no, actually, that's your third time I had to dump you now, so it's all good.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll be more cognizant of that.
You know about those FCC fines? Come on.
Yeah, but I just keep forgetting that we're usually I'm just doing my podcast and I can say anything that doesn't land me in court or jail.
It's all good, bro.
This is a little different. So anyway, that's what they would have to do, but it'll never happen. That was going to be my point. I don't need to spend all the time beating it up. Tony's goal, his vision, does not necessarily coincide with growing the business at the expense of it appearing like he's not the one calling all the shots. I know that sounds weird, but it's not that unusual.
Fair enough. Interesting answer there. All right, let's get our last commercial break in, and then we'll be able to run this the rest of the way with Eric Bischoff here on the Mark Hoke Show. Fascinating discussion about pro wrestling with one of the few people that have really ever been there and getting the job done. Stu Myrick, Phil Stamper, Eric Bischoff with us on the Mark Hoke Show. We will be right back. Stick around as we wrap it up here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Stick around, everybody.
Hi, this is Manny at Fetchatech, the best plumbing and AC company here in Las Vegas. And I have to tell you that I love my dog, Ollie. And that's why we'll give you 10% off any plumbing or AC repairs if you have a pet in the house. Not kidding. At Fetchatech Air Conditioning and Plumbing, we show up on time, we keep our word, and are as loyal as your favorite dog. So what you waiting for? Call or Google Fetchatech and get an automatic 10% discount on repairs or get a $49 AC tune-up. And as we all know, you can always trust someone who loves dogs. So call Fetchatech. We're doggone good and we're doggone fast. And if you have a pet, you get 10% off plumbing or AC repairs and a $49 tune-up. So call Fetchatech right now at 702-509-2000 or just Google Fetchatech. That's 702-509-2000 or Google Fetchatech and we'll come a-running.
Fetchatech, service that's a freedom part.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Empower.
Tim collects bobbleheads. A lot of bobbleheads. Baseball bobbleheads. Race car bobbleheads. Little Chihuahua bobbleheads. He's got an entire room strictly for bobbleheads. Does he need them? No. Is his wife mad about it? A little. But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Ooh, horse bobblehead. Classy, Tim. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again.
Hey Mark, I don't want to jump
you.
I don't want to jump your show here, but that commercial that you just aired, about the timeshare, that is my favorite commercial of all times. You know what that guy did? He took a disclaimer because he's not an attorney and he's in the financial kind of general bubble universe, right? And there's all kinds of rules and regulations about that. And one of them are you have to make sure that the consumer doesn't think you're an attorney. Well, he took that requirement, I've got to have that disclaimer, and he turned it into a selling point.
Yeah.
I'm not an attorney. I like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or look like an attorney, I apologize. That is gold. I love that.
Oh my God. I could talk to Eric Bischoff forever. Really could. I mean, it's the experiences that you've gone through and everything that you've learned over the years. I mean, it's just the knowledge that you've got. And it just amazes me when I think about it. You know, how many people have been in the place that you've been. And it's in this business, you could literally say it's a handful. I mean, the learning that you have taken in and give out on your podcast and everything else, man, it's fascinating. And you didn't even plan to do it. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's fun, right? You gotta have faith.
Yes, you do. I wanted to ask a quick question about ending stories. We were talking about
because I'm
the
such
importance
an
of
expert
stories.
at that, aren't I?
Yeah. Well, it is an interesting quandary that people have in pro wrestling is you come up with a great story, it's working for a long time, and then sometimes it's hard to finish. What do you do to try and make sure that you properly finish a story?
All kidding aside, and it's funny because I say this, and I know it sounds like he wants a job in wrestling, which is like nothing farther from the truth could be out there. But I've learned so much more because of what I experienced. It was all learning on the job. It was trial and error. There was no handbook. Nobody, as you pointed out, I was in a unique position that nobody that I've ever heard of had been in before. And a lot of it was just timing, and it was just opportunity and the way things went down. Right place, right time. But because I had enough support and time to learn what I didn't know, or at least get a feel for what I didn't know so that I could make better decisions, that was a lot of knowledge gained by experience, good and bad. And that just took time. But now I can look back at it and go, oh, that's how I would apply what I went through back then. This is how I would apply it today. This is what I would have done better today that I didn't know how to do back then, but now I do. So, you know, so I think about that stuff a lot. And it applies not only to wrestling, but, you know, so many different aspects of life and just things that are happening and growing and changing the world every day right now we're undergoing so much radical change so fast, our brains can't even comprehend it. We had 10 years to get used to flip phones. And now you've got mega computers in your pocket or on your watch. It's crazy. We haven't wrapped ourselves around it as a culture yet. It's happening so fast. So it's fun. It's like an action film. It doesn't stop.
All right. Stu, do you have another question for Eric?
Yeah, Eric, you just mentioned about learning on the job, the years that you did this. What's the biggest lesson? You go all the way back to your days in the AWA. What's that one lesson that you learned that you carry with you to this day in your current iteration, with 83 weeks and Conrad and such?
Better than, less than, different than. That was the thought that crossed my mind when I was sitting in a room 2 hours after Ted Turner handed Nitro to me on my lap unexpectedly, sitting in my room in a way that I was kind of concerned because I didn't know what to do. How do I do that? I've never done that before. Nobody's ever said, here, go create a new 2-hour show. What? I had an idea how to do it, but I didn't know. I'd never done it. So I'm sitting in my office and I said, okay, how can I be better than the WWE? I couldn't come up with a way. They were too good. They'd been there too long. They were the incumbent. They were number one. I was number two. I might as well have been number 222. The disparity was about the same as is between WWE and AEW today. That's what I had to start with. So I thought, well, I can't be better than them. I don't want to be less than them. I'll be different. I'll go after the 18 to 49-year-old demo because they're not. That's different. That's never been done before. Wrestling had always tried to appeal to teens and preteens because that's generally where the money was. Ticket sales in your local arenas, T-shirts, gimmicks, merchandise, pay-per-views. All of that was driven by teen and preteen audiences that mom and dad paid for. That was the business model of WWE and WCW. They were just so much better at it. So when I went to 18 to 49, boom, now I'm different. How else can I be different? Their tape. I'll go live. Boom. Now I'm that different. That's where the idea of better than, less than, different than came. And I've had so many people over the years to this day reaching out to me who are really successful business people who said, dude, when you said that, it made sense to me. And I figured out how to move forward in my business or just think through things differently. And that's pretty cool. So that would be it.
It's funny that I was watching a Nitro or a Monday Night Raw with Jimmy Hart one time at his bar. And he said almost the exact same thing. He said, be different. Be different. That's how you're going to stand out. And, it's fantastic advice. It's just funny to hear that from you too, that, it's been a constant whenever I talk to people in the industry that you've got to be different. You have to do something to stand out that nobody else is doing.
Yeah. And here's the tricky part. Being different isn't trying to outdo what somebody else is already doing. Being different is an original idea. Being authentic, having a character that people can relate to that doesn't look and feel like everybody else's. It's not copying somebody, but doing it in a little better way. It's coming up with unique ideas and unique presentations.
Yeah, and certainly there's a lot of that going on, that's for sure. Tell us a little bit of, let's get into everything you got going on, Eric, because now that things have settled down, and I can't believe you're 70 years old. I'm not buying that. I mean, dude, you don't even look like a 30-year-old at this point. It's unbelievable. But tell everybody what about all the projects that you have going on. Just a reminder about the Real American Freestyle and 83 weeks and so on.
Yeah, well, 83 weeks. I've been doing 83 weeks, the podcast with Conrad Thompson now for going on 8 years, which is really hard to believe because it's nothing but fun for me. I will always do this podcast as long as Conrad wants to do it because I just enjoy it. I enjoy Conrad and I learn a lot from Conrad, even in the course of, a podcast wrestling conversation. He's a very smart dude. So I've learned to really love Conrad. He's a good human being. On top of it all, he's a really, really good person. So that's always going to happen. Real American Freestyle is really, there's one other project that I'm developing. It's a film project, early stages, as a producer, not a writer or anything like that. But really, Real American Freestyle is my focus. It's getting fun. It's a big challenge. I'm not naive. If you look at the odds of people who have started professional sports leagues, so nobody's stupid about that. Or investors are well aware of the risks, and as a team, we know every day we're fighting for survival. Because when you establish in any new business, particularly something in the sports space, it's a lot. So we'll see. But I love it. I love every day of it. And we're surrounded by really high quality, committed, good people. Right in there. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, Eric, an honor to have you on the show. And I want to thank you for all the extra time, too. It's certainly appreciated. We got to do it again. We gotta.
Yeah, we're only gonna do it again. Are you gonna teach me how to use music to shut me up? Because if I give that button to Conrad, you're never gonna hear a word from me. Thank you, guys. I'll do it anytime with you, Mark. You know how to reach me.
All right, sounds great. All right, Stu Myrick, Phil Stamper. Don't forget about those guys as well. You can follow Eric at Bischoff on X. Stu is at Stu Myrick, and Phil Stamper. Trust in Phil. I still don't trust Phil, but it's okay. All right, guys. Have a great day, Las Vegas. Follow me at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. Just look up The Mark Hoke Show. You'll find me. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Hi,